I'm Salad, Salad, and I Saw Moonraker. It is directed by Lewis Gilbert, written by Christopher Wood. If you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. This movie starts and we're following a Moonraker, which is on top of an airplane. I didn't know you could transport a Moonraker on top of a commercial jet. They get hijacked. I guess there are some dudes in the Moonraker. First of all, how did they get up there? Were they just sleeping? The movie doesn't really explain how they got up there. It's just, oh, they're in the Moonraker. So I guess it's presumed that they found a way to sneak up in there, I guess. And then they hijacked the Moonraker, which is pretty cool. And that plane that they're on, or that they were on, freaking combusts. And I'm like, dude, this is so brutal. So of course, James Bond is on the case. He has to look into this. What caused this commercial airliner to go down? The official story is that it went down due to mechanical errors, but someone actually hijacked it. Well, they don't know that yet, but I know because I watched the movie. By the way, Jaws is back. It seems like he's working for somebody else. Is he a freelance guy? Jaws survived an explosion last movie. What is gonna kill Jaws? The vacuum of space? Is that the only thing that could kill Jaws? I think we're gonna put that to the test in this movie. My hands are freezing. You can probably tell how cold it is. It's freaking snowing. James Bond meets an astronaut. She's very pretty and I'm cosplayed like her. She wears this at some point in the movie, but she's very smart and very capable. I like the cat and mouse game they have going on, and I realize that I say cat and mouse game a lot in these James Bond reviews, or at least the past few, because I really feel like it's James Bond chasing a lady, because that's much more interesting to him than just sleeping with a woman. I've said this before, and I still maintain that opinion. He goes to Venice and he rows the boat. It was pretty cool, but in Venice, he finds a lab that's producing a bunch of viruses, and that's no good. No viruses. And of course, he's like, well, who's the viruses going to? And he follows the trail all the way down to the space station. And honestly, the part that's between finding the lab and finding the space station, that middle part was kind of doling, what's the right word? Droning. It felt like a drone. I was like, okay, this is alright. I'm getting parts of the story, but I really feel like I know that James Bond is going to eventually find a space station because we saw the Moonraker. But how does he get there? That's what this movie is primarily about. How does James Bond find this guy? Because I feel like James Bond, it has a little bit of a whodunit and how catch him, because we get introduced to the villain a little bit, little pieces throughout the movie, and we get to know more of his organization and his motivations, right? And so it goes from a whodunit to a how catch him. I also like how the spy agency, at some point when it appears that James Bond made a mistake, they're like, just take a break. Just take a leave. And then we got James Bond, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go to Rio. But he's following somebody in Rio. And then he's in Rio, and when the organization finds out that he found somebody in Rio, they're like, all right, you're coming back on 2 weeks. You're just gonna be always working, aren't you, James Bond? That is the perfect employee for them, by the way. Oh my goodness. I guess you gotta have this level of dedication if you're in the spy game. You gotta be either all in or completely out. There's no middle ground whatsoever. He's exploring the Amazon desert. Jaws catches him, takes him to Drax, and Drax is like, yo, what are you doing, dude? And James Bond is just like, I'm looking around, I'm getting information. But he never says that, right? That's always what he's actually doing. But he has an air about him. It's very just aloof. He plays aloof. It's not that he is aloof. He's a very smart, clever man, but he's playing aloof. So these guys underestimate him, that they let their guard down. And so James Bond can have the upper hand and win. James Bond goes on the back of a car after he escapes. Car goes vroom into space station, and then car go down into space station, and now he's in space station, and now he sneaks onto Moonraker 6. What he does is he goes bow, bow to the astronauts there, and then he goes up, and it's pretty great. And also, I didn't mention, now I'm talking about astronauts, I really like the scene where James Bond is in that G-force machine, and he's like zoom, 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 and this stupid freaking woman, she's like, I'm gonna leave it unattended. You know, that's standard protocol around here. Bye-bye. And it allowed for somebody to sneak in and turn up the G-forces to a point where he's almost passed out. So yeah, he can definitely handle liftoff. Luckily, this woman with him is an astronaut, so they take over Moonraker. They gotta go onto the space station and disable the radar so the United States can be like, yo, what's up there? And so they go investigate, and then by the time that they're there, a bunch of... By the way, Jaws is there. I guess Jaws snuck on too, but yeah, Jaws is there. It's a fun time seeing Jaws fight the chicken James Bond. We also got a freaking laser show going on outside of the space station. At this point, I'm like, whoa, this is way too jumping the gun. There's no laser technology. The only laser technology is huge. Are you saying since the last couple of movies, they took the big laser technology and made it like a gun shape? No, that's not how fast technology works. Okay, this is the 70s. We don't even have lasers now. We're in the freaking 2024s. Okay, almost 2025. We're a quarter way through the century right now of the 21st century, and we don't have lasers. Well, we do have those laser pointers, but I'm talking plasma laser weapons. We don't have that yet. If I'm wrong, leave a comment below. So everyone is going right, and then they find a shuttle to get off, and they leave everybody, including Jaws, to be exploded. But you know, I think Jaws can only be defeated by the vacuum of space, and that's what happens in this movie. Heck yeah, and then the whole space station explodes. But there's these two guys that these United States astronauts save, and I'm like, wait, it's exploding. How did you guys save them? Whatever, who cares? And then we have the astronaut chick and James Bond, and they go kiss you, and that's the end of the movie. I feel multiple ways about this movie. On one hand, it was kind of slow in the middle part, but the beginning part is an interesting way to set up a movie, and the end is balls to the wall crazy. But on the other hand, it's boring. I guess I put both of my points on one hand. That's not how it works. Oops, my bad. Anyway, I really like the space stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I like how they jumped the shark. They jumped the shark in Thunderball, but this jumped the atmosphere. Now we're in space. It's pretty epic, and then of course they had to have a freaking Star Wars reference, because this is 1977, this when Star Wars first came out. I don't know if it was coincidental or not, but that's what it reads to me as somebody in 2024 watching a 1977 film. James Bond has sex with 3 ladies, and by far the most interesting one to me is the astronaut, because she's a career woman. I like that. I like how she's very focused in her job. It doesn't seem like she's very emotional. There are other chicks who were so emotional and not at all helping out in this movie. I was like, bro, do something else other than the like, oh my goodness, I'm freaking out. No, freaking help, please. But that just seems to be some of these ladies' responses to danger. Luckily, James Bond is a great man, an excellent man, person that everyone should be aspiring to, including women. I like Roger Moore. I feel like he has aged more into his role, and I forgot to talk about Roger Moore in the last 2 movies reviews. Oops. Because honestly, I just feel like he's the true James Bond. He really embodies the character to the point where I'm not thinking about the actor anymore. It's the character, and the character that Roger Moore plays is a very dynamic one. There's a lot of depth to the character. A depth that Sean Connery didn't seem to achieve as well as Roger Moore has. What do you think of Moonraker? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments, and also hit that like and subscribe button. Share this video if you liked the videos. So I gotta give it, it's a solid, even though it's boring in the middle parts. It helps that it's so ridiculous and silly, and the premise is an interesting one. Oh yeah, by the way, the main villain guy is, instead of water from the last movie, he instead does space. But it's the same exact motivation. They both just want to be alone. Anyway, this movie, it's a 6 out of 10. If you like this, if you watch another one on the platform, like that $20 dinos, patreon.com/ASEPresents, 1 movie review for 1 month. Go to this link tree to support the daily grindiness of all them daily movies. So go here. And until next time in Salad Saw, I'll see you later. My salad croutons and bacon bits. Bye-bye. It's snowing, I'm cold.